Welcome back, everybody. Monday Morning Briefing, episode number 66. It's March 29th. It's been a while. So we haven't had a Monday morning briefing in the last couple of weeks. We've been just focused on the tooling course that's coming out in the academy, and that thing is pretty well wrapped up. All we're doing now is just kind of finalizing some of our checklist, make sure everything's right, make sure everything's good to go so that we can get that launched out. That launch date may be by the end of the week, if not over the weekend, but you'll see that post up on the academy, and we will be sending out a newsletter before then. So if you're not a part of the newsletter, you might want to do that. That way you can get first access, because we will allow them to have first access to this course. This will be the second course that we're going to offer on the academy. The first course, and the only course that's been available on there for the last 4 or 5 years, has been the floral design course, or the drawing course. That course has been really good for us. We want to thank everybody that signed up for that course, everybody that's still going through that course. It's been really great. I think it's helped a lot of people. We've had nothing but great feedback from that course. And we went ahead and decided, as we talked about last fall, we began to build the floral carving course to kind of go with that. So if you've gone through the drawing course, the floral tooling and carving course is going to be obviously the next step if you're wanting to improve on your tooling skills. It was really a lot more of an undertaking than I initially thought. Building a course in general takes a lot of time. It's a lot harder than doing videos simply for YouTube or our project videos or anything like that. A course is a completely different animal, and we worked on it as we could, nights and weekends, evenings and weekends, and different things like that, just trying to keep it moving forward. And we hit a point right there in February where it got to the point where we were going to have to really devote a lot of time to it. And so for the last couple of weeks, I've really honestly just been working on that, even on weekends, just trying to get all the footage shot and get it all put together and all the worksheets done and the list done. That way it's a valuable course for somebody wanting to actually create a really good foundation for their tooling. This is going to be a beginner course, as you'll see as we get further along. Once it posts up and everything, you'll hear us talk about that in the promo video that will be there on the Academy homepage. But it's designed for beginners, but it's designed for the serious beginner. So it's not going to be a very real kind of a quick beginner's entry-level course on tooling. This is going to be an in-depth beginner's course to create a foundation for you. So there's a lot of information in there. We talk about everything from tools to lighting, work surfaces, all kinds of different things. So we're excited about that. We've got some of the pieces here that we've tooled on the course. You can see some of those in those videos once they come out. We've shared a few little glimpses of some of this stuff as we've been building it on our stories on Instagram and things like that. But it's been a really fun process of putting all this together, because I've been tooling for over 25 years, and so trying to break all that down, which we've done before on the YouTube channel. We've done our tooling mini-series on here a few times a couple of years ago, and those were really good. We just kind of went a little bit further on this course and really dived into how to use the tools and different techniques and different patterns and different things like that. Hopefully it translates well to you, and you can get the information that you need out of it and be able to really improve on your tooling skills. That's a little bit about that. That's what we've kind of been doing. Like I've said before, Monday videos, we're going to miss some every once in a while. We had somebody call yesterday and just kind of asked if they were still on the channel or still subscribed because they weren't seeing any of my videos. It's like, no, we've kind of been tied up doing this. Got to remember, there's only 2 of us in here, and that's me and my wife. And so some things we fall behind on and that sort of deal, but it's all good. We just got a lot of things going on. The podcast, last week we had Jason Thigpen with Texas Heritage came out last week, and that was a really good podcast. I really enjoyed that. I've been following Jason for a while and didn't know him, just knew him off of Facebook or off of Instagram. Turns out we were at A&M, Texas A&M together around the same time. Not sure if I ever ran across him or not, but he was a really interesting interview. He's a woodworker and things, so if you haven't heard that, you might go back and listen to that one. And then the one before that was with Rod Nickel, who's a tree maker, and I really liked that episode. I learned a lot, and it kind of made me feel like making trees is something that I need to have my eye on just for the future. I don't have any kind of set in stone timeline on doing that, but I think at some point I'm going to have to try my hand at acquiring that skill set so that I can at least have the ability to build a tree if I need to or something like that. There's some great tree makers out there, and we get some of the, in my opinion, some of the best trees from them, 2 or 3 different people that we use. But at some point, I might not have those as an option. So it's just one of those deals we're always looking out for the future. And we're also looking out at other people that are, up up and coming that are building trees and things like that, and maybe we can get some from them as well. I just like to have some versatility in saddles. If you're building saddles, acquiring the tree is usually the most difficult part, being sure that you have them on time, being sure that you can get them, being sure they're right when they get to you. And so there's a lot that goes into that as far as just acquiring them. But then if you're building your own, there's a lot that goes into that as well. It doesn't make it a whole lot easier or even more economical by any means, but it just gives you a little bit more control. I don't know that I want that amount of control, but I might not have a choice at some point in my career. So hopefully I've got another 30 years of building saddles, if not more. But if you get a chance, go and check out the podcast. There's been a couple episodes out this month. Like I said, we've been trying to stay really with that 2-week schedule. So every other week we have an episode come out. Our goal is Thursday, but sometimes it'll happen on Friday. But that's our goal, is to get it out. We've got a few in the pipeline that have already been edited, just waiting to post. So we should be good if I get busy in the shop or something, or can't get somebody scheduled up. We had a podcast interview this morning with somebody that most of y'all would know off of YouTube if you've been on there for any length of time and looking up saddle makers and things like that. So we're excited for that interview to come out in the next month probably. As far as what I've been working on in the shop, we've been cutting and selling the material packs for the thumb hole rifle slings and the shaped rifle slings, and they've been selling great. So thank y'all for that. I've been cutting up as many as I can. We've got another leather shipment coming probably, I think, next week or maybe the week after, and we'll cut more belts and more rifle slings out of there. The belts have been staying pretty steady. We've got plenty in stock. I've still got some that I can cut up. We are out of the blemish grade, and we stay out of those. Those on the blemish grade material packs for the belts, we might have to increase the price on those after this next leather shipment or when it gets here. As we all know, everything is increasing in prices and stuff like that. So you may notice some changes on pricing. I'm trying to keep it, as minimal as possible, but like on some of our printing costs for some of the printed pattern packs, they have upped the price of printing on some of those by a couple bucks. So we've had to increase those just to stay within range of where we need to be. And same thing with the material packs. Leather prices are increasing a little bit here and there, and so we're noticing some differences. And on these, we've got to be real careful just to make sure that it's something that is sustainable long term. So we've got to be sure we're charging right. So I do know on the blemish grade we may have to go up a little bit on those, just because of they're still good quality leather. They've just got some marks and blemishes on there, but I've got to be sure that we're paying the same for it whether it's blemish or not. So we've got to be sure that we're in the right price range. But the rifle slings have been a big hit. Every time we put some more on there, they're selling really well. The funny thing with those is, talking about blemish grades, I ended up with a pile of blemish ones as well of the rifle slings, because I just click those out. I don't really vary where I'm going to click them. I don't want to waste a lot of leather, so I'm clicking those out just kind of side by side as close as possible to really maximize our yield on that leather. And then whenever I level them off and sort through them, I'm taking the ones that are blemished up and I'm putting those off to the side. And then like these two, I'm just making them for us for the sales floor and kind of getting them tooled up and working through them as I can. But just like on the belts, I'm ending up with a pretty big pile of the blemish ones. So we may throw like a little 3-pack of these in a blemish grade on the cut bench page. The cut bench page has been doing really well. We're going through a lot of just scrap leather and different things that I have, different bellies and necks and things, where I'm trying to get some more products out of that. Knife sheaths, pancake knife sheaths, getting all those cut up before that next shipment gets here. Again, it's all really good leather. It's just a matter of me going through it and kind of sorting through it and putting those packages together for the material packs. Last weekend we cut, or I think it was last week, we cut a bunch of knife sheaths, and we put those in a blemish grade kind of pack of, I don't remember, I think there was a dozen of them in there for the pancake knife sheaths, and put those on the cut bench page, and all of those sold really quickly. So we'll continue to do that. Like I said, anything that you buy from us that says blemish on there, you are going to have to deal with range marks, stretch marks, scars, wrinkles, different things like that. If they're super bad, I chunk them in the trash, because if I wouldn't even use them to make just kind of an economy, just plain knife sheath, then I don't usually throw them in there. But they will have some marks, so they're not going to be pristine, clean work surface like the material packs are. We try to keep those really clean. But anything blemish grade, it's still good quality leather. There's nothing wrong with it. It just may have some marks on there. And again, if you're tooling that, if you're floral carving it, basket stamping it especially, things like that, you're going to cover all of that up. So that is a great opportunity to get a reduced price on something and get some good quality material. It's still Herman oak. It's still quality tooling leather. It's going to edge good. There's nothing different about it other than the cosmetic marks on there. So those are great opportunities. So we're going to be sure and do that, just because like I said, as fast as we're getting leather, and we've been thankful for Herman oak. They've been running really, really high capacity these days, and they've been doing a great job of getting us our leather so that we can keep up. We spend a lot of our day, working on our custom list, working on saddles, making videos, doing that. So I don't spend all day long cutting. So it works out well with the speed at which they're getting us our leather and us being able to keep the website as full as we can. Like I said, I know we run out of some stuff. We are ordering some more chap leather for more of the wristlet purses. So if you've been wanting to buy some of those material packs, we do have some more chap leather hopefully headed our way pretty quick, with some just neat leathers and stuff that would make some really neat bags. We're still also working on the project video. Like I said, been focused on the tooling course. With that, I haven't worked on the project video for the little, I've been calling it a kidney bean purse. I don't know if that's the name I'm going to stick with, but it kind of, the purse we did, the alligator version, that's not going to be in the video, but we did one for Claudia. It was the alligator skin, and then we did a couple other ones out of just regular leather. That will be our next project video. There will be a pattern pack for that purse. There will be tooling patterns in that pattern pack for that purse, and I'm planning on having dies made for those pieces as well. So that one is coming, hopefully in April. Get this course behind us, and then we'll go from there. My goal with the Academy is to have someday maybe 50, 100 courses on there, so that you can kind of pick and choose and really get some quality information if you're getting into leather work, or anybody in the future that may decide to get into leathercraft, that'll have an opportunity to get in there and learn some information. But it is it's almost a full-time job just creating those courses for that. So we're going to be slow on it. It's going to, this may be the only course we add this year. Never know, we might add another course too at the end of the year. But for right now, this one's, I'm going to take a break off the course for a little while after we post this and get this one launched. We're going to kind of lay low and focus on things in the shop that we need to tend to, and focus on our project videos and creating more of our tip videos and things like that for the channel. This thing ate up quite a bit of time, and I think next time it's going to be one of those deals where we'll have to schedule in, say 1 month, we're working on the course, and we're going to do it all at one time instead of trying to do it. I try to always multitask, and do a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here, a little bit there, and then inevitably nothing gets done when you do that. And I know that, and I've been taught that, I've been told that, mentors have mentioned that. You're better off focusing on one thing at a time than trying to do multiple things at one time. And you might find that in your shop as well. If you've got 4 or 5 jobs going at one time, they move forward slower than if you just did one to completion, then go on to the next one to completion, and so on and so on. I think we've talked about that on here before, and it's just a hard habit to break. You always just feel like, well, I'll get a couple saddles moving the direction I want, I'll get some repair moving the direction I want, I'll do some belts this evening, I'll tool some product for the sales floor, and then maybe try to shoot a video, and it ends up just being an explosion of a day, and you don't really accomplish as much as if you just set, today I'm doing this, then go home, sleep, relax. Tomorrow we're going to do this and that. I think we all fight that problem in our saddle shops or in our workshops in general. I think woodworkers would probably feel the same way. Welders, I've got some welding buddies, they're the same way. You got too many projects, too many irons in the fire. So sometimes it's probably better just to slow up just a little bit and focus, and try to just have focused energy on one project to completion, and then move on to the next. It definitely lowers your stress level when you only have one thing to worry about. I don't really know what that's like, but I've heard that's what it does. Real quick, I want to touch on something that I heard about that happened over the weekend, and I found out about it, I guess, on Monday or something. But if y'all remember, we've had him on the podcast. He's come here and visited the shop here recently, but Odin Clack with Odin Leather Goods, he had something happen with his Instagram. I don't know all the details. He ended up losing his entire Instagram account. I think he'll probably be able to get it sorted out. He's got another account on Instagram that's at Odin Leather Goods. But if you've been following Odin and enjoy his content and things like that, then you can go check out at Odin Leather Goods on Instagram, and just try to maybe give him a like, check him out, reach out to him, send him a message or something. I know that was kind of a hard hit for his business. He's very active on Instagram, does a lot of stuff on Instagram, and had a really good following. But I feel like he's going to be okay. He's got a good website. He's got a good following. People are going to find him. But if you're a big fan of Odin, go check that out and find him on Instagram there and help him rebuild. So a lot of y'all have seen that I've been posting on Instagram over the last, I guess it's been 2 or 3 weeks, what I've been calling number one on Instagram. I thought it was kind of just, no big deal. That's just what I call it as number one, but it's the first saddle that I ever built. That's the saddle that I've been posting. We washed it. It was covered with some mildew. It had some mildew from our saddle house. We've got some humidity issues down here, and saddle house needs to be tightened up a little bit. So, but not a big deal. Mold doesn't scare me. It means the leather's still in good shape when you see that. But we do want to get that off because it will stain. So I've made the decision about 6 months ago that I was going to retire that saddle. Not that I ride a lot. I build saddles for cowboys. I'm not a cowboy, but I do ride some, and that saddle was the one I've been using because it was the one that I first built, and I enjoy riding it and that kind of deal. But it really doesn't look anything like a saddle that I build now. That was pretty well mimicked after my mentor's work, and it looks almost identical to one that he would build. Understandable, but I'm very proud of that saddle. It's got a very special place in my heart because it is saddle number one. He told me when we built that saddle that if I ever sold it, he was going to hunt me down and kill me. And so I've never sold it. And there was times after I built that first saddle that I really, really could have used the money, and I had opportunities to sell it, and I almost did. Poor college kid, fresh out of college, whatever it was, I really needed, I could have used that money, but I didn't sell it. I saved it for fear of him killing me. And so I've had it all this time, and I've loaned it out to friends. I've had customers ride it just to try to see if for fitting issues or whatever, because I knew the bar conformation on this saddle. And then I've rode it quite a bit as well. I really like the saddle, but I wanted to retire it, have it now that we've got our retail store again, we've got a storefront. I want it on display out here so when people come in, they can see the very first saddle that I ever built. Okay, so this is it. This is saddle number one. I built this saddle with Jimmy Plant back in 2002. And it's actually got number one stamped on one of the little rig hangers here. We put the date on it. It was August of '02 when I finished this saddle. It was just a set of patterns that he had, that the floral pattern was something that he had designed and that he had there. And so everything about it is his style and all that. I just kind of followed his lead on there. I would say I did probably 85% of the work on this saddle with his help. I was also building leather products at that. I'd started when I was in 8th grade, so I already had some experience tooling, had some experience building things, was nowhere near accomplished. But when I went to work for him, he really helped to refine my tooling. I learned a lot about tooling this pattern and this saddle. Again, it's his kind of style. Wasn't really something that I tool like anymore. It's not really, my saddles don't look really anything like this, even from just the pattern design and stuff, but I have built a few saddles very similar to this. The tree in this saddle is built by Bowden Saddle Tree Company. It's a Wade tree with a number 4 Texas Dowley in there. When I first built this saddle, basically my deal with Jimmy Plant was that, and I said, I want to build a saddle and I'll buy all the material and stuff if you'll help me with it. And so he agreed to that. And so he had turned me on to Bowden Saddle Tree. That's where he was getting his trees at the time. So at that time, I don't know if they still do it, but at that time you could buy a kit from them. And it wasn't all the pieces clicked out and that sort of thing. It was just everything you needed to build a saddle. And so you could pick out a tree from them. And so it would have the tree, 2 sides of Herman oak leather, your strips of latigo for your tie straps, lining your billets, that kind of thing. It came with all the hardware, your plates and D-rings and all that sort of stuff, and your conchos, saddle strings, sheepskin. It came with basically everything you would need to build a saddle. All the material list, it came with all of that. And I want to say at that time that kit was a little over $1,000. So whenever you hear saddle makers talking about that they got $1,000 in material in every saddle that they build, it's probably pretty right. Possibly, quite possibly, it's a lot more depending on where they're getting some of the hardware, some of the trees, those kind of things. So just in a generalized kit, that was $1,000, and they were making a little bit of money. So it's got to be somewhere between $800 to $1,200 would be your kind of bare minimums on what material it's going to take to build a saddle. But that's what I did. I got that in, and then he walked me through designing the saddle, and he had a bunch of patterns art. He was very good at making patterns, made patterns all the time, had patterns for everything he made. So I picked a style, and that's what we started cutting out and started working through. The entire saddle process build probably took me 2 or 3 months, off and on, working in the evenings and maybe on a Saturday or something. Sometimes during shop hours, he'd help me, and I'd be able to peck around on the saddle and work on it some and that kind of deal. And it may not have been quite 3 months. I don't remember how long exactly it was, but it was a good while. And then we got it done, and like I said, it was one of those deals that was pretty neat to wrap up. Once I got this one done, he actually had an order for one almost identical to this, basically the same saddle, but in a half-breed floral tooling. And so he actually let me build that one next. And that's kind of how my apprenticeship began, as I built that saddle alongside him. He was really hovered over me, make sure we did everything perfectly right for his customer. And then after that, he'd give me another one, and it just kind of progressed. And over a couple of years, I built probably, I don't know, 7 or 8 maybe saddles with him, something like that, because I was also doing a lot of the repair and the chaps and things like that. But I was able to work with him side by side and was able to actually help him some on the saddles he was building, and then also have a few projects of my own that he would guide me through. And I feel very fortunate that I had that opportunity, and it's not something that comes around very often. And so it was very, very nice to have that opportunity to go through that. But so that's why this saddle, like I said, we call it number 1. It's going to be out there on the sales floor, just retired, and like I said, I may pull it out every once in a while and take it home and ride it some or whatever, but I really like it. I'm glad it's back in the shop. We've got all the pieces over here. Like I said, it's been oiled. It's been we put the Skidmore's product on there for the leather conditioner. We got it all saturated, I guess, the day before yesterday. So it's just been kind of sitting here soaking that in, and now I'll just go back in through and put it all back together. I've got the fenders, and we did exposed stirrup leathers on this saddle, so that was kind of fun. It was just kind of cowboy and different, especially on my first one. It kind of changed the way I was used to doing things, just to try something different. It's also got a flat plate rigging in it, which was a lot of work just building those. So I did some things on the saddle that were more challenging than I would recommend doing your very first saddle. But saddle's a saddle. You might as well do the saddle you want to build, and no matter the challenge, and just get after it, because you're gonna have to do it at some point. But that's a little bit about the saddle. I want to thank you for your patience over the last couple of weeks. Like I said, we don't have a schedule in the saddle shop. We do what comes up at that moment. We try to work on everything, try to keep all the irons hot in the fire, keep them all moving. And I appreciate you just kind of rolling with the punches with me and keeping everything moving. Be sure and go check out Lost Trade Podcast. We will have another episode come out next week, and I can't remember who that episode is. We're starting to get a few in the pipeline that are already edited and ready to go, so I'm not really sure which one they're going to pick. They're trying to keep them kind of jumbled up best we can, so we don't have just 5 saddle makers in a row, because obviously I'm a saddle maker, so I like to talk to saddle makers and hear their story and stuff. But we've also got some other guys, silversmiths and different things that are going to be coming on to the show, so we'll try to keep it all mixed up. But go check that out. Again, the online course for the floral carving and tooling will be out either the end of this week or by this weekend, first Monday, something like that. It will be posted. It will be available, open enrollment. You'll be able to enroll in that if you choose to. Like I said, it's going to be an in-depth course. It's going to be a lot of information in there. It's a long course. If you choose to do it, we'd be glad to have you in there. But be sure to go to dgsaddlery.com and sign up for the Leathercraft newsletter, and that way you'll be notified anytime anything new comes out before it actually posts online. I appreciate you guys, and we'll see you all next week in the Monday Morning Briefing.